2021, and it's already the start of a new, better year. We have Fans Toys Smokey. This is their FT-31D. He is the representation of drag strip, obviously, G1 drag strip. So we'll get started. Thanks everyone for joining the live stream, by the way. Did get this from Toy Dojo, who's in the comments. So if you have any questions, go ahead and leave them for them. Or if they have any more stock, they'll always add it to their site later. I think they're sold out right now, but hopefully you'll get yours if you haven't already, if you've already pre-ordered, that is. All right, so the box, pretty standard box, about the same size as the other Carbot so far, a little bit thicker, I think. The image in the front looks really nice. I do like the artist, the newer artist. I don't know exactly who the new artist is. I haven't checked, but it's really nicely done. The side, we get Smokey. On the top, we get his alt mode, Smokey, alt mode. And on the back, we get his very long bio. I'm not going to sit here and read that for you. And then we get some images with him and his teammates. I'll bring them out as well. I am collecting this set. And then we have some other images. So nothing too fancy there. As you would expect, he does come with a styrofoam clamshell, or whatever you want to call it. Hey, King Rouse. Hey, Vincey, how's it going? So he comes out here. He comes transformed in mostly robot mode. He also gets some accessories here. These came in little plastic Ziploc bags. I was too lazy to put them back in. He does come with 2 sets of guns, identical guns, and then no combiner parts. And again, if you guys haven't been following, they are going to put the combiner parts with their last bot, and apparently it's going to be a big bot, and around the same price, I think they said, as their Motor Master was. So it's going to be a little bit more expensive. All right. So he comes out in robot mode, mostly, as with most things. He does come somewhat mistransformed. So the one thing that I noticed is that his arms were backwards. So you want to, I don't know if that was just mine, but just in case, rotate those 180 degrees like that and get the fist oriented. And then his head also has kind of these side, I don't even know what you want to call it, antenna or crest that are folded out or folded in. You want to fold them out to get him into robot mode. And I think that was it for me, at least in my version. I believe that was all he had as far as what he needed to get into into robot mode. I think maybe the only other thing, I thought one thing might have been loose down here, but oh, here it is. So the other thing is these things came without these tabs. So these kneecaps were like this, but when you open it up, there's actually a little tab here. So you want to flip these up. And people often ask why I do this, show you how to transform it out of the box into robot mode. It's because I know a lot of people actually don't plan on transforming the figure, as weird as it sounds to some people and to myself. They just want to have a really nice robot mode. And so I wanted to at least show you guys what it takes to get into the proper robot mode. So, hey, Katos, how's it going? Hey, Winston. So, as usual, hey, Antoine. As usual, it's going to be really difficult for me to keep up with the comments. So, I do have a couple folks in the chat. I know TM Reviews is one of my mods, and T-Man right there. And so, T-Man says, why does his left knee have gold metal piece? So, we'll talk about that in a little bit. While the other one doesn't. So they're not completely symmetrical. So let's just do a quick rotation of him in robot mode. And he does look quite nice. I will say so. Sorry, I'm kind of bleeding. I stuck myself with this figure when I was transforming him, so I'm a little bit bleeding. There should not be that much red paint on him if there is red paint that ends up coming out. The one thing I will say is, while he is pretty clean, his back is just kind of weirdly transformed. Like, you can kind of see that this is the front spoiler of the car on either side. So it looks kind of odd, to be perfectly honest, but it doesn't look terrible, and overall it's pretty clean. It's just weird that it's like completely flat on the back. He does have his iconic wheels that are rubber and turn to the side like that. And we'll actually go into some quick comparisons first. I wanted to start that off really quickly. Here we have him with their Motor Master and their teammates. That's Magnum. their spoiler. And so drag strip is very slightly shorter than their Magnum, I would say, like maybe a millimeter or so, and a decent amount shorter than their spoiler, who's my favorite of the bunch. And obviously there's a really big height differential. So let's see here. What other comparisons do I want to do? Oh, the only other quote-unquote masterpiece scale drag strip I have is the X Transbots one, as you can see here. Much tinier. A good amount tinier, like maybe 40% tinier. Who else do we have? Oh, here is MP10. Not MP10, MP44. I'm so used to saying MP10. MP44. So you get a good scale there. Maybe at the end I'll take some requests for other comparisons, but this gives you an idea of the main bots that you'll be seeing him with, I'm sure, on your shelf. Actually, probably not even this configuration. If you're anything like me, you're probably going to have him in combined mode. Unless you're Jay Stabler, who's in the comments and has literally multiples of every figure for each mode. So I know he has 3 of these. So he's going to have one in robot, one in alt, and one in combined mode. So, hey Z-Farsh, I'm going to do that later. So I wanted to show you guys how heavy he is. Without any accessories, he's 11.7 ounces, which is for 332 grams for all you metric folks. So yeah, pretty good there. All right, let's see. Accessory-wise, like I said, he only has the 2 guns. They don't transform or anything. They're pretty boring, to be perfectly honest, but they're fine. They're fine for guns. They're pretty well molded, but there's no transformation. Man, I'm bleeding all over the place. But they work the same way as you would expect with MP hands. You're going to go ahead and jam that in there, and you can curl the fingers around, and it does a pretty good job of holding it. And he has 2. As far as I know, and the instructions don't mention it, there doesn't seem to be any robot mode storage. And even in the configuration where you would have it in alt mode, you can't actually access it. It usually goes down here, but the wheels are in the way, so you won't be able to do that. As far as the face, the extra face installs pretty easily. He has a smirking face, so we'll take a quick look at his smirking face. The way that works is you basically just pop off the top of his helmet head, and then you see there's a little tab there. You're going to want to pull forward on that, and you'll see a keyed head. You're going to want to tab this back on. Ow. And then tab this back on. So there we go. Yeah, the smirking mode, I do like the smirking mode. Usually most smirking modes look kind of goofy, but this one actually looks really nice. All right. I'll show off this guy really quickly, but he's not much of an accessory. He pegs in alt mode. He's a little race car driver, and the way we'll talk about it when he gets into alt mode. But let's see, where are we going next? So let's see, we're going to go ahead and talk about articulation. His head is on a ball joint, but because he basically has no neck, you basically get very little range. So you get like that much up, not even down, I would say, really. And then rotating to the side, you have to be careful with the chin, but you can rotate it 360 if you wanted to, but very, very limited articulation there. The paint is really nice. Nice metallic paints here on the eyes and the purple here. Even some sections. So it might be hard to see on this resolution and this this camera setting, but there are about 3 different types of yellows or oranges through here. There's like a little bit of orangishness here, a little bit of yellow. This is slightly brighter yellow. This bare plastic is a slightly different yellow, and then obviously you have the gold pieces that accent it and the chrome piece on the chest. So it does have a good deal of separation, color separation, which makes it look kind of nice. and then some highlighted details with the red and so forth. So sorry about that detour. I did want to talk about that really quickly. His shoulders have 2 shoulder points of articulation. You have this one here, which is kind of at the standard, but then he also has one up here at the kind of like trapezoid, trapezius, not trapezoid, trapezius muscles. So you can kind of make use of both. This one is ratcheted. You can hear it there. That's actually very nice feeling. He does have a bicep swivel that we showed before. Oh my gosh. I'm bleeding all over this guy. Sorry about that. Oh my gosh. This looks like a crime scene. I apologize. I should have put a Band-Aid on. I'll probably try to run up and get one later. But in any case, he does have a 90-degree elbow bend. And then he has a wrist swivel. He has a ball jointed thumb. This is pretty standard Fans Toys hands. Each individual finger is pinned and articulated, and they have 3 separate joints. So they have the base pin here, another pin here. So it's kind of like 1, 2 points of articulation. So very nice. Let's see what else we have here. So he does have a waist swivel. He doesn't have an ab crunch, but he does have kind of like a Fans Toys ab crunch. So the Fans Toys ab crunch is in the sense that you can actually disassemble him part ways and get an ab crunch. And I'll show it to you when we trying to get into transformation. But it's not really meant to be a transformation joint. You'll see that it just flops around. I mean, articulation joint. It just kind of flops around. But you can get poses if you really want to with that ab crunch. These hip skirts move up, and he has a friction joint going forward, friction joint going back, going out like this. Quite nice. He does have a thigh swivel. He does have a ratcheted knee bend here. Coming down to the foot, he does have an ankle pivot, as you could see here, or rocker. And then he has multi-point articulation on the toe. So right now this is tabbed in, as you can see here, this rectangular tab here. But you can actually undo that, and you'll see that there's kind of a double hinge here that gives you some up and down and so forth. For robot mode, it's probably best to keep this tabbed in to keep it very secure. My blood is yellow, yeah. Let's see. Is there any other articulation points in robot mode? I don't think so. I think I covered them all. I know Transforms Like a Guitar always wants me to show this. He doesn't actually have the ability to do that kind of chest deck exercise, so you can't actually rotate this out to the side right now. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, I'll have to go clean this guy up later. But yeah. So you can come out to the front and go up like this, but he can't actually rotate out like that. All right, everyone's saying I should get a Band-Aid. Okay, all right. So you guys quickly just admire him, and I'll get a Band-Aid real quick. All right, sorry about that. I am back. Hand sanitizer. All right, let's see here. So as I was saying, the transformation for this guy is actually not that bad. But the instructions are kind of janky in some areas that, as usual, they could definitely break your figure. So I'm going to talk about them. There's one on the very first page, and then one later. So yeah, Setsuna say, why is one knee different? We'll get to that. The long and short of it is that it is for combined mode. So I will be showing off what I believe is the combined mode for this guy. All right. So let's go ahead and start with transformation. I'm going to do it a little bit differently than the instructions, because the instructions kind of go up and down, back and forth. And as you know, if you watch my channel, I really don't like that. I try to get everything done in one section and then the other. So first things first, we're gonna pull up on the crotch, and you'll see there's like a series of 3 tabs or peg holes. You want to extend this down and bring the 2 halves together and get them aligned here, and then you'll see these 4 pegs will now go into the top 2 sets of pegs here. So that just brings the legs in together so that they can combine. Yeah, so I do have a spudger. I'm an avid spudger fan, but there are a couple places here that you might need it. So while we're here, we're going to go ahead and pull this out. As we saw before, we can tab it in here, fold up that little piece if it doesn't automatically flop down. All right, now coming to one leg at a time. The first thing they don't show you is that you want to pull out this tab here on the side, this leg panel, before you open up this leg here. So in the instructions, they just tell you to open this up, and that's not going to work. If this is tabbed in, you're going to break something, because this will be tabbed in here and you're going to break this hinge probably. So don't do that. Make sure to open that up. Fold this out like this. You're going to want to bring the ankle down like so. And then we're going to deal with this wheel. So this wheel is on a set of double hinges. You can see it in here, the silver piece. So you rock it out. And before you tab it back in, it's kind of easier to do here. You want to rotate this entire circular yellow section around. So you're going to rotate it around. It only goes one way, each wheel. There's a stopper. You see these 2 rectangular stoppers, so don't force it. You basically want to rotate it towards the back, where you'll see this kind of like L Tetris looking piece come out here, and it'll be facing upwards, okay? So once you do that, make sure that you go ahead and push this down and lock this in place. Next up, you're going to want a combiner wars, if you guys remember that line, the legs. So you're going to use this double hinge, bring that in like so, and then we can close this up. There's 2 tabs over here that we're locking the leg panel in place. And then this tab will go into the side of the thigh. This piece here, they talk about a whole bunch of weird things like caution, but and they zoom in on some parts, but it's impossible to see what they're really talking about. So if you pull this out like this, you essentially want to pull this part of the heel down, and then you rotate this 90 degrees, like so. And what you want to do is, you see how there's a gap between the chrome piece and the front of the toe? You basically want to reverse this double hinge so it goes inside the front of that toe. And then from here, that slot on the piece that we rotated around on the wheel and this piece that we flipped up on the toe, they slot together like that. And then you'll see the exhaust. We'll do that a little bit later. So that's it for one leg. Pretty simple. So again, come to this side. Remember to fold this down. Remember to untab this section here, or else you're probably going to break your figure. Untab this. Open it up. Tilt the ankle tilt. We're going to pull up and out on this rocker where the wheel is. And before we lock it back down, again, we have to rotate this around. This time, we're rotating it clockwise. And again, you'll rotate all the way until this rectangular piece kind of stops it from being able to rotate. And this piece, again, will be kind of facing up, or I guess facing down, depending on your orientation. But it should be kind of straight up and down vertical. So we can go ahead and push that double hinge down. From here, once again, we're going to combine towards the leg. Like so. This is going to close up, making sure to tab these sections here. Let's get the foot untabbed, rotated 90 degrees, pull this toe section out, and once again, we're going to double hinge this the opposite way so that it sinks in to the toe itself. What's going on? like that. And once again, this piece here will slot in to that yellow wheel piece. Like so. Fold this piece up. You can tab the two legs together now, but I'll show you why you may not want to later. And this part you can fold out, but since it's kind of a weird piece that you could easily snag on something, I recommend you leave it up until you get to the end of the transformation. So that's the lower body, pretty simple. Rotate this around at the waist 180 degrees. Now we're going to deal with the upper body. Fold the fist up as you normally would, getting the thumb straight down like this. Yeah, sorry, I really don't read the comments once I start transforming. It's really hard for me to keep track and stay focused on my explanation. So you want to come to this arm here. Sorry, with the Band-Aid in the way, it's kind of hard to get in here. You want to open it up. Open up the arm. Rotate the fist like so. Like that. You also want to rotate, and they don't show you this either. This is on the first page. You actually have to rotate the bicep 180 degrees before you do this. Because if you don't do that, it's not going to work, and you're going to try to jam this closed, and that's not going to work. So 180 degrees, and you rotate this around, you'll know it's right because it actually tabs in right there. I can see some of my blood. Okay, great. And here, we rotate the wheel back. All right. We're going to do the same thing with the other side. Again, let's go ahead and rotate the arm 180 degrees. And then we're going to come to this side here. Undo the tab. Rotate the fist in so the flat side will be facing you when you telescope this in. And then close this back up. Once again, rotate the wheels. And we have the arms and obviously the sides of the car in the correct position so far. So again, nothing too fancy, nothing too scary so far. Just remember some of the stuff on the legs. All right, next up is where we come to the midsection. So you want to release this. These are an over and under tab. You want to pull this out. And then the instructions here are really confusing too. I don't know what they were asking for. I couldn't understand what they were asking for, but essentially these pieces are tabbed into the body. And I found the easiest way to separate this is to actually just push back on this, like so. And you can see how they kind of released. So again, on this side, I just push back on this and this releases. That's what you want to do. And you'll see this section all comes out. You want to rotate this down and around like this, because it's going to end up being the front of the car, okay? Rotate that all the way up. Same thing on this side. So you want to pull it back, down, and around, and all the way up. Before I forget, close up those little side antenna pieces, the purple pieces, and get the head straightened out, because those might get in the way at this point. So when you bring this all the way around, get the arms still facing downwards. So what you want to do is close up this section here, or at least I like to close it up. There's a little two sets of tabs that kind of hold everything kind of secure into place right now. All right, next up, these arms are on a double hinge. It's probably easier to show it this way, but you want to just rotate them down to the side and into the body. And you'll see this front wheel has a little slot that corresponds to a tab that's in his, I guess, kind of main body. But you want to make sure everything is squared up like that. Same thing on this side. Make sure it's squared up like that. And then on this side, you want to pull the arm back and up towards this part, and that will tab in. Same thing on this side. So right here, make sure to pull it forward, and you'll hear it tab into place. Next up, here's one thing to note. You have to keep these flaps open, and you'll see these are on telescoping joints here. So you need to keep these open. For now, flip these pieces in, like so, and these two halves will come together. It is important to note that this is the over-under tab. You can see it's kind of angled, so you can't just jam it in, when you put it in, you have to make sure to have this one go over and in, okay? Like so. Then you can tab this section in. One of the things is you do have a little slot here where you can see part of the head. It's kind of a bummer. I don't know why they couldn't have designed it a little bit better where you wouldn't see the head, or, you know, make it so the head tilts back and you could cover that up. But in any case, this is a very small detail. But yeah, once you have this folded in, close these down like so. They tab into place. And now you have the front and the back. You want to lift this up, this chrome piece that was tabbed in here. And then, so the reason why I said you might want to split the legs is when you use this chrome double hinge here to bring the two halves together, this all works fine. There, you can see there's tabs here that go into the arms. However, the more difficult portion is that this cutout here, these tabs have to go out and into the side here. So these need to be kind of spread out a little bit. So I would recommend that you don't tab the legs together. And that way you can kind of work your way around this tab on both sides. It's kind of hard to explain, but you want to get this down and around. Maybe it is easier with these two tabbed together. I'm not sure now. Now I'm second guessing myself. I had an easier time before, but essentially you do need to get these down and in, like so. Am I messing up something? I don't think I'm messing anything up. Yeah. So see, now that we're like this, we just need to get these tabs in, but you can't just jam it down. You have to get these up and around. Yeah, see? There we go. And again, pulling out to the outside of the car first and then pushing it up will hopefully give you an easier time than I'm having right now. I don't think I've messed anything up. It shouldn't be since I got the other side, but you know how it is with live streams. Everything always seems to go wrong when you really want it not to go wrong. I'm not sure why that one side went in okay. Oh, okay. Okay, it worked now. All right, so yeah, once you have that in, again, these go from the outside in. Close that up. Close the two halves together. And then this section here will come back and tab in these two slots here. Yeah. All right, now everything's cleaned up and we're in alt mode. Sorry about that, taking a little bit longer than I was expecting. But there he is in alt mode. It looks quite nice. You can go ahead and tab in this driver guy. He just has two tabs that correspond. Mine is kind of hard to get in, and you can see from the way he holds his steering wheel really oddly. It doesn't, and the way it's angled looks very odd. It looks almost closer to horizontal than vertical that we're used to. But it looks quite nice in this mode. You can see the QC sticker here. The only other accessories, like I said before, are the guns. The way these attach are to these sections here, which I believe are die cast, and this slot here. So you can't just jam it straight in. You have to actually come in from the side like this and rotate it in. There is kind of a clearance issue with this little curve here. I don't know why they felt the need to do that, but you kind of have to curve it and slightly force it around this die cast piece there. But it's nothing too scary. I wouldn't worry about it too much. But with that, we have, what's his name? Smokey. Smokey in his alt mode. You might need to play with the wheels a little bit to get it to sit flush with the ground, but it does roll quite well. He is very hefty. He does feel very dense, just like the rest of his teammates. He feels really solid, like a brick, as most people would call Fans Toy stuff. But they feel really nice. He does have really nice rubber slicks that roll quite nicely, and the chrome detail here. And again, even though there are some color differences, I think it makes the figure look better than if it were just one solid color. Normally, if I had done a full review, I would cut and then show the comparison with the X Transbots drag strip. But since I'm doing live, I don't really have that luxury. So the only thing I'll do is go ahead and bring out my comparison of choice, which is Streak, Masterpiece Streak. He's a little bit longer than Streak. He is a good amount wider than Streak, though. Almost like 50% wider. All right. So I think that's it. So let me try to go back a little bit. Hopefully, some of the answers were questions were answered, but hopefully you guys do enjoy this mode. I actually think it looks really quite nice. Not a lot of gaps here. There are some details here, and there's a bit of a gap there, but not a big deal. Oh, sorry, I forgot to flip down the quad exhausts. I even said we should save that to the end, and I totally forgot about it. The engine block does look really nice with this chrome detail. And again, aside from this little gap where you see the purple head, it's a bit of a bummer. TM says, "Pick for life." There are tons of questions, but the one I wanted answered is, does he feel like the other car bots, or is he lighter due to the arm mode? Let me instead of just from my gut feeling, he feels lighter. I think I said he was 12 ounces or something like that. He does feel, at least to me, considerably lighter. But let me actually do the scientific test instead of just guessing. Oh, well, he's 11.9. And I think he was 11.3 without the accessories, right? Yeah, without the accessories, he was 11.3. And then spoiler was 11 points. No, so they're right around the same amount. For some reason, he felt lighter to me, but I guess not. He's pretty close. He's in between the two. So yeah, good thing I checked, because otherwise I would have told you guys that he's lighter without actually checking. Can he fit in Road King? I honestly haven't transformed Road King in a really long time. I highly doubt it. Jermaine says, Fans Toys is the best hand down. Okay. Can he fit in Prime's trailer? I haven't had Prime's trailer out on display in years, so I can't answer that one. Make some race car noises. Vroom, vroom, vroom. Skirk. That's my best. Where's Sphinx? Sphinx is in my display. He's in robot mode, though. He's probably going to get replaced by Transform Element, though, pretty soon. I just have been too lazy to actually change out my Mirages. Does he have die-cast parts? Yeah, he does have a significant amount of die-cast. Actually, it's probably easier to show you when we go back, but I think some parts of the mid-body, and I think these sections here, right here, are die-cast. You can kind of tell because the yellow is a little bit darker. And then I don't remember where else. Yeah, but he has a decent amount of die-cast. Let's see here. Measure the width of him. Okay, hold on one second. All right, so he is from wheel to wheel. He's about 3 3/4 inches, maybe a little bit more. So under 4 inches wide. I just my name is Mike Hawk, dude. I get jokes. So hey, Ron just picked up his from Toy Dojo from my house. So no, we're gonna Fraxic. We're gonna talk about that when we go back. Which part draws blood? I don't remember. I think it was when I was trying to. So when you try to get him out of alt mode, it's kind of difficult. At least the first time, and the reason is you have to pull this up. And the first time when I put it in, it was really hard to get this back up. And so there's only one little piece here that is kind of a point where you can kind of grab on. So I tried to do that. I don't know why. I don't know why I was too lazy to run and grab my spudger. I was upstairs with my family, so I didn't come down to grab this. But yeah, it's much easier if you have a spudger. There's a little notch there. It's much easier to just go ahead and do that. I would recommend it. So, so yeah, everyone keeps asking about the kneecaps. I'll basically tell you that and the Fans Toys Ab Crunch when we get back closer to robot mode. All right, let's see. What's with this left gold knee piece, Ron? I just talked about that. We'll get to that. I was going to ask why you didn't use your tools of the trade. Yeah, I was upstairs. I was actually playing a board game with my family, and my wife was like, dude, you need to spend some family time. Brian G says, all that you have seen, which do you think is the best X-Trans bots or these guys? Oh, yeah, these guys are definitely better. It's not a question. The Fans Toys ones are definitely better, especially given... So I remember when this first came out, or I think after Drag Strip... No, not Drag Strip. After Spoiler came out, maybe? And we found out... Or maybe after Motor Mess. Anyways, at some point, I got really upset, and I was giving Fans Toys hard time because they basically snuck in more pricing at the end when we found out that the limb bots were not going to have any combiner parts, and then they mentioned that the last limb would be $200+, so way more than we were kind of expecting going in. But X-Trans bots did it way worse. They did us super dirty with the trailer. So with that said, I definitely think the Fans Toys ones look nicer and feel nicer overall, especially the drag strip. If you guys remember, I really like the I was really excited about this drag strip. I was anticipating him being my favorite one, and he's definitely my least favorite one of the bunch of X-Trans bots. This guy is really good. I don't know that I like him better than Spoiler. I don't know why, but I really like Spoiler. Even though he has more kibble than either of these guys, I just really like him. So, all right. So let's see. Let's see. Any other questions? All right. Anthony Brown says, do you have all three sets? No, I only have X-Trans bots and I have Fans Toys. I actually started picking up Fans Toys after Toy Dojo asked me to do a review on their Motor Master, I think. So I picked it up afterwards. So anyway, I think that's it for alt mode. We're going to go ahead and get into, actually, on the way back, we're going to detour into combined mode, or at least my best guess of combined mode, and I'll tell you why. So first thing we'll do is try not to draw blood like I did, and get behind there, release this tab. It does get looser. Go ahead and close this up. And you kind of want to get these out again. Like I said, I think it's a little bit easier to kind of split the legs, even just a little bit, to make this part, releasing this part on the side, a bit easier. Yeah, so once you have that, you can lift this out. You can release these tabs. And you can see how it kind of zigzags out like this. There's diecast here that people are asking where I picked out, where I can point out some of the diecast. There's diecast on the arms, I believe. I think this piece is the diecast. My hands are super cold, so it's kind of hard for me to tell right now. Yeah, I'm almost positive this part is diecast. All right, so we're gonna stop right here real quick, and it was kind of trying to figure out how this might work in ARM mode. So I was looking at the combined pictures, and it looked kind of weird. I was like, does it split in half, kind of like X-Trans bots, or does it have some kind of mechanism? And what I found is the way it works is you basically have to open up the legs. So release these tabs here, and then open up these tabs here, and you want to extend the legs. And before you do that, you want to close this piece up so it goes onto the inside. That's going to be really important. And then close the leg. So you're kind of halfway to robot mode here. Same thing on this side. You want to open this up. You want to fold this piece in, get the leg out. But on this section, you'll see that there's actually a little tab here that you lift up. And then you can close the leg. Then you can put two of the legs together, both of the legs together. And what that release does is let you access some additional joints. And what that'll allow you to do is get an elbow bend. So it's pretty cool. I was really surprised. It doesn't split. So from what I can tell is the arm pieces for the combined mode will probably fill in here. And then there's a wrapper piece that goes around the legs to hide that. And then you'll have a fist of some sort. I haven't really looked at how the fist will work. But the elbow bend is really pretty cool. It does look a little gappy. For sure, you do have gaps here. But that's not a big deal. I think this is pretty well engineered. So I'm pretty surprised. It didn't take too long for me to figure this out. It was pretty obvious how this leg worked. Like even when transforming him, I was like, oh, this is kind of weird. But it only took a little bit longer to, like I said, look and see that there was a tab here that allows this kind of extra jointage. So yeah, that's the magic, I think. I don't think there's anything else really more to it than that. So let's go ahead and try to get this guy back into robot mode. So flip this piece out, like so. Close this up. So let's just keep going with the legs, just because we're kind of already there. So with the legs, we do want to pull up on the toe and release this kind of slot and tab here. Want to rotate, we'll close this up. And once again, this double hinge that's in the toe, you want to actually reverse it so that you get a gap in the front. You want to rotate this around and then collapse it down so it tabs in right there. So you have a gap. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't have closed up the leg all the way. I totally forgot. You can't close the leg up until you put the wheel in. Sorry, that's my mistake, just because I'm not used to going through the combined mode first. So again, this is on the double hinge. You can see the die cast piece in here. I think this might be die cast too. And you want to rotate this time counterclockwise as far as it can go. It basically reverses 180 degrees and then stops. You want to scooch this in. You can bring the foot up. And now you can close everything up. Make sure the knee is correctly positioned when you do that. And that's one leg. The other leg, same thing. Make sure this is opened up. And then we want to deal with the toe. Pull out on the toe and the slot. Close that up. Extend that double hinge. Like so. Rotate this 90 degrees so it slots in like that. Rotate this piece 180 degrees. This one's going to go clockwise. It's kind of weird to try to grip this, but it's not too difficult. And again, it's on a double hinge, so you want to pull out on that. Close that up. Close this up. Close up the leg panel, making sure to get the knee in there. Close up the side panel. And then the last thing you need to do, oh, this is kind of a gear walk mode. I just noticed that. So before you flip the knee pad up, remember, as we talked about in the beginning, you want to flip this little tab out to secure it. Then we can flip this up and in, like so. All right, coming up to the upper body. The first thing I like to do is kind of release this section here. So we want to open this. If you have your spudger tool, it's a little bit easier to get to this section here to pull it out. Again, there's an over and under tab, so you want to make sure that you just don't pull it out. You want to slide this out like so. And then we'll just leave these out of the way. We can open up these sections. And remember, these were tabbed in upwards, right? So you want to push back on the arm to release that. And then you want to untab here at the front wheel and use those double jointed shoulders to get the arms up like so. Like so. From here, you're going to rotate this all the way around. Once you get to the back here, you want to rotate this, keep this opened. Same thing on this side. Keep this up and opened. And so this is where I'm telling you there's like kind of the Fans Toys faux ab crunch. So these pieces here are supposed to slot in under this. I think this might be no, this is plastic. Under this piece here where the waist swivel is. If you just tab in these two halves and then tab these into the body, like so. I'm not going to transform all the way, but you can see he does have kind of an ab crunch, a fake ab crunch, but it doesn't obviously work in the sense that, ooh, I probably shouldn't have done that. In the sense that it doesn't secure. It's just two loose double hinges there. So it's not really ideal for articulation, but you can make use of it if you wanted to. But for the true transformation, remember to keep these front spoiler pieces out like so. And you want to get this slotted in underneath that waist piece. And then you can tab in both sides like so. You just give them a squeeze the two halves here. This is an over-under, so this right side has to go down, then the left side. Oh, I forgot to do the crotch raise. So raise that up, split the crotch, and tab that in. My mistake for going out of order on that. Okay, and now the arms are pretty easy. Just rotate them around. As we saw before, you want to open up on this tab, extend the double hinge here, close it back up, rotate it around 180 degrees, get the fist oriented the correct way, and then just rotate these 90 degrees, these wheels. Same thing on this side. This should pull open, extend. I'm going to rotate, get the fist out. When you close this up, remember this these die cast joints here do need to be correctly oriented so that they tab in. So yeah, most of the joints are die cast. All the gold pieces, as you can see here, half of this, at the knee, this back part here. I think this is die cast. Parts of the legs, I believe, are die cast. I think this section of the arm is die cast. So he has quite a bit. The one thing I have noticed, and you guys have probably noticed it while I've been transforming, is at least my left ankle is pretty loose. It tends to flop around a lot. The right one is fine, but the left one tends to flop around a bit. But there he is back in robot mode. And we're basically at the end of the review. At this point in the live stream, I always like to take questions. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the trip through to alt mode, the detour into the combined mode, which I think is really well done. I think it's pretty clever. I do want to see how the rest of the actual frame works, but I think it's actually quite well engineered. I thought it was very clever the way they did it. Oh, sorry, I forgot to. I knew something looked wrong. You do have to get these crest pieces out. There we go. All right. So let's see. What questions do we have? Memo says, any potential breakage area? So I talked about a couple of things. Thanks, Brad, for pointing out that I forgot that too. I did catch that finally. But the potential breakage areas, I don't see any that are super obvious if you are transforming it correctly. So I did point out that the instructions forgot to pull this out when they tell you to open up the leg panel. Definitely remember to do that, and definitely remember to rotate the arms 180 degrees on your first transformation. Otherwise, it's not going to work. But otherwise, I don't see any potential breakage areas. I do have a couple areas that are already chipped of paint, like this part on the shoulders die cast. You can see the paint was chipped off. I don't know exactly where, but somewhere in the transformation it got chipped off. But I think that's pretty standard. Most Transformers do get a little bit of chip wear somewhere. Fans Toys in particular seems to have that a lot. Maybe because they also have probably some of the most paint of any third-party figure. All right, what else do we got here? All right, that's what I got a lot on my brief video of Monolith. Hey, Tony, how's it going? Toy Dojo, love your company for years now. Cheers, Pake. That's from Robot Gang #1. So Ryan, you joined a little bit late. So the knees are actually different because the way that it's designed for combined mode. So when you take this out, you can see this. Is it this one? I thought that was this one. Maybe it was this one. Oh yeah, okay. So wait, now I'm getting confused. Which leg was it? So in any case, one of them. Oh, it's this one. Okay, yeah. So when you open this up, there's actually an extra hidden tab here, which releases it, which allows you to make use of the elbow joint. So this combined with this will bend to make the elbow. Obviously, it looks kind of goofy right now because he's not fully transformed, but I showed it before. You'll have to go back and watch it, but I did show exactly what what I believe, and I'm 90% sure that's accurate of how the combined mode works. But that allows you to get some extra points of articulation that allow it to do the elbow joint, because this will be the elbow joint here. Clinical says, I got a lot of grief for suggesting it was loose. Sorry, I don't know what you mean by what was loose. Maybe the Motor Master? I'm not sure. Oh, I think Fraxic is probably one of the people that I just boxed up a drag strip for. So I mentioned it before. I get some of these, thanks to Toy Dojo, directly shipped to me from Fans Toys overseas. The downside is then I have to pack up like 30 to 50 figures for them to ship out to the East Coast people so they can get it faster. Single jointed elbow Z-Farsh. Z-Farsh. I always think it's Z-Frash. But yeah, he only has a single jointed elbow. Even though I thought it looked like he had double, but he has a single one. He does have a good amount of range, though. If it weren't for my one loose ankle, I think he could pose really, really well. I'm probably not going to do it justice. Watch T-Man 978's review. I'm sure he'll eventually review this guy at some point. But yeah, he does pose quite well. I should probably stick out his gun in here. Carl Tate says, apparently I need to pay more attention to Toy Dojo. Yeah, you definitely should. I was a customer well before I was their reviewer. And they always did me really well, even before I was their reviewer. Yeah, so he has a good amount of articulation. The only articulation that I miss is the ab crunch, obviously. But that's not a huge deal to me. I think as long as the rest of the figure can be dynamically posed, the ab crunch is just kind of a bonus. But I think the one other thing that I would say is his arm joint does look a little goofy with the elbow joint being so high. But again, nothing is a deal breaker. I actually really enjoy this figure. As much as people think I'm a hater of Fans Toys, I'm really not. If you guys watch my winners and losers of 2020, my live stream, I actually said my #1 winner was Fans Toys as a company, not even just a figure. There as a company, they were my winner of 2020. Yeah, it's amazing. He likes it. Use both guns? All right, fine. You guys keep making me do way more work. If you guys have any comparisons that you would like to see, as long as it's not too much of a hassle for me, I'll go ahead and do some. But I think the comparisons I did should at least give you a pretty good idea of how he scales. Screw for the loose ankle. I don't know that I could actually access it. Let me see. Maybe. Yeah, it's down here. So I looked at it before. I thought I could maybe get to it from behind the spoiler. But yeah, it looks like it might be a screw, or either way I can't get to it, unfortunately, unless maybe I can. I think I can see it here. It does look like a screw, but I'm not going to try to disassemble my figure to try to get to it since I don't know how to actually get to that ankle. I'm sure some brave soul will figure it out, and then once they do, I'll probably experiment with mine. But I'm not going to mess with mine yet. I already have blood all over this one and some paint chips. I think he's suffered enough. Pig, are you going to do a X-Transbots Gravestone trailer transformation video? Asks Greg Gaines. So I've already said that I'm not going to spend any money on that anymore. That said, Toy Dojo did say that they wanted me to do a review of one. So if they send me one, I'll definitely do a review. I'll do the transformation for the trailer. I'll do the combined mode. But even though I'm 5 figures deep into the X-Transbots Stunticons, I'm not shelling $230 out for the trailer. I'm just on principle. I'm not going to do it. Can you compare with Mirage? The only Mirage that I will do a comparison for you with is the Transform Element one. He's probably going to be my new Mirage of choice. Sorry about the awkward posing for him. Russell says, Pig blood adds more value to the figure. Yeah, you guys will have my DNA, and you can make a Pig for Life clone in the future. Toy Dojo says, show some enthusiasm, dude. TM Reviews did say he bought the trailer. He's a sucker. Or maybe he's just way more loyal to his fans than I am, but I'm not trying to pay $230 for that. Evil Ash says Bobby is the only one who should do do the X-Transbots trailer. Why is that? Ron's hitting up Toy Dojo for a discount. You can get a discount on it if I break it. How about that, Ron? Greg Sane says, "What's your Cash App? I got you. I appreciate it." Buddha says, "Bobby Skullface will leave the X-Transbots trailer in 10 different pieces." When's the last FT go up for pre-order? I thought that they already... Toy Dojo, don't you guys already have it up for pre-order? I thought they did. Chris P 1811 says pledge floor wax. I think somebody will be brave enough to open this up. Like I said, I can see the screw. It's right underneath here, but I don't know how this is attached. So without doing a little bit more investigation, I don't know how to get to that part. And it's not so loose that it's that bothersome to me. So is there a waist ratchet? There's no waist ratchet. It's very nicely, tightly frictioned. It's not scary tight as some have been in the past. Yeah, Brendo is talking about what I'm calling the transforms like a guitar point of articulation. So he can't rotate outwards when his elbow is up like this at the shoulder. So, I mean, you can rotate like this. Well, I guess you can do it like this. But it just looks awkward, right? Because you can make use of his second elbow joint and use that rotation this way. It just looks super goofy. But you can't do it from the lower joint here, unfortunately. And his gun flew off somehow. Sportman says, I guess FT's dead end will come with the combiner parts. Yeah, Fans Toys had mentioned that a long time ago. That irked me back in the day. But now looking back on it, it's way more reasonable, I'm hoping. Or at least I hope it's way more reasonable given that they said it would be probably the same price as their Motormaster. which will still be less than the X-Transbots trailer by itself. Z-Far says, Toy Dojo didn't even give me a break on Road King at TFCon because FT sells so fast. Yeah, FT is hard to keep in stock for sure. Make him beat up Mirage. All right. Oh, then you can stomp on him. Oh, he doesn't need no stinking gun. This is the most awkward posing. Live stream posing is probably not the best, but you guys asked for it. Here you go. Why didn't they just release Road King last? I don't know. Probably just because design-wise it worked out. And I think also you guys have to realize that they were also competing with a couple other companies. So they probably don't want to release the same figures that the others had already released. So throwing out a Motormaster when the others don't have a Motormaster yet kind of makes sense. Toy Dojo says, Z-Farsh, I'm eating ramen every day. Help me get some better food. Victor Enriquez says, you have Hoodlum? No, I do not. I sold that guy. I think that figure sucks. Yeah, Tony Jr. says, great job, Pig. It got a little bloody, but I'm glad you didn't break it. Yeah, honestly, like I said, the transformation is not bad at all. It is actually quite nice. I think it's actually enjoyable. And that's true of the other Limbots too. I've enjoyed all the transformations. There are some tightnesses and some scary areas where you might need a spudger, but by and large, they were not difficult or hateful, as Bobby would say, transformations. Han says, I hope they stay true to their word. Their rep said that Smokey would come with 2 guns, and voila, they delivered. I don't want them to pull an X-Transbots on us. Yeah. All right. Well, I think we've come to an end. We're over an hour. Hopefully, if you guys are coming in later, you guys can catch it on the re-upload. I did go through robot mode to alt mode, and then on the way back, we did go through the perceived or assumed combined mode, which was really cool, a nice find as well, and then finishing off in robot mode. We showed off the accessories, his couple of guns, his alternate face, which is on there now, the smirking one, which is the one I'll keep on as opposed to the straight face one, and his little F1 driver. So hopefully this preview, or I guess review, live stream review, is coming to an end. So Ron says, when you doing an official review? I'm actually probably not going to be doing a second review. I've kind of shied away from doing that. I've been pretty lazy about doing reviews and videos as it is, and spending time doing 2 videos, a live stream and a full review on just one figure, ends up being kind of wasteful for my time and really repetitive. I don't know who would really want to listen to it twice. And I think there are a lot of other good reviewers out there, like T-Man, like TM978, that will do a really good job on the full review and not keep it to an hour long like me. All right. I'm not selling you this Mirage. She's mine. That's all for today, everyone. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you liked the review, please give it a thumbs up. I will be doing more of these. I do have a big box coming from Toy Dojo finally that will keep me pretty occupied with reviews for a while. It's going to have a lot of fun stuff, so keep your eye out. If you guys want to keep up to date, please hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell, and then you'll be alerted next time I go live. Thanks a lot, everyone. Hope you have a good one.